In July, a story began to circulate of a top-secret meeting between Taiwan and the US. A newspaper had published a summary from a secret meeting in the South China Sea. At the meeting, US officials had reportedly asked Taiwan to research and develop biological weapons in a high-security laboratory at the National Defense Medical Center in Taipei. The report began to spread across local media in Taiwan.
The U.S. State Department has denied a report saying that the U.S. asked Taiwan to develop biological weapons.
The only problem? None of it was true. It was part of what analysts and Taiwanese government officials say was a Chinese disinformation campaign. Ahead of Taiwan's presidential elections, there's been a striking increase in disinformation attacks targeting the island, which the government and analysts attribute to China.
Taiwan's government says Beijing wants to influence the elections because whomever next occupies the presidential palace here is going to dictate Taiwan's relationship with China.
We have seen the Chinese cognitive warfare and disinformation campaign, and I think they have sharpened their tools in this regard.
Every day we have hundreds of battlefields about misleading information on the social media.
China's communist government has never ruled Taiwan, but it claims it as part of its territory. In recent years, China has stepped up military exercises around the self-ruled island of 24 million people. Now Taiwan is going to the polls to vote for its next president. The two main parties are the ruling Democratic Progressive Party, which has forged tighter ties with the US under President ing-wen, and the opposition Kuomintang, which favors friendlier relations with China. Leading up to the vote, the Taiwanese government has seen a wave of disinformation pointing to Beijing, with many of the attacks designed to cast doubt on the island's relationship with the US. Taiwan's foreign minister says these attacks are part of an effort to influence voters.
There will all be different kinds of scenarios portrayed by the Chinese side. For example, they continue to say that the choice in this election is in between war and peace, and if you vote for the DPP's candidate, it will mean war.
What are you seeing this year compared to previous years? Is it worse, better, different, and how concerned are you about it?
The Chinese always try to play its role. And they try to influence the outcome of the election one way or another. In the previous times, they went through military threat against Taiwan. And this time around, we noticed that China has been gearing up its cognitive warfare and disinformation campaign against Taiwan.
As the vote nears, researchers are working to identify and counter disinformation targeting the election.
They are trying to manipulate the Taiwanese people's opinion against the ruling party.
Ethan Du is the founder of Taiwan AI Labs, an NGO that uses artificial intelligence to trawl through social media to identify trends and instances of misleading information.
Taiwan is number one in terms of the foreign government false information, 11 years in a row. So in Taiwan, overall, every day, every individual has received some kind of information manipulation.
Taiwan receives thousands of disinformation attacks every day that mirror Chinese state media narratives. In the 2 months leading up to the vote, attacks peaked at more than 15,000 a day.
We believe that there's a consistent funding support to manipulate the democracy country's election in Taiwan. And the reason of that is Taiwan is at a very unique position between United States and China.
Beijing has threatened action against any perceived moves by Taiwan to assert independence. China is trying to influence the election because it doesn't want this man, William Lai, to win. Beijing sees Lai as an advocate for Taiwanese independence, and it worries that Taiwan will move further away if he becomes president. Lai is currently serving as Taiwan's vice president and has said he would maintain the status quo in relations with China established by President Tsai.
中国对我跟美琴有意见，那是因为我们两个都坚守台湾的主权，维护民主、和平跟繁荣发展。台海的和平稳定是全世界安全跟繁荣的必要元素了。中国有责任，那台湾也有责任。那过去这段时间以来，国际社会认为两岸情势改变，责任不在台湾，而是在中国。
The surge in disinformation comes amid efforts by Beijing to ramp up military and diplomatic pressure on Taiwan. But China has denied that it's trying to interfere in the upcoming election. Beijing's Taiwan Affairs Office said accusations of Chinese interference in the election are false and that it respects the island's current social system. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has vowed to eventually take control of the island, making Taiwan's status a flashpoint in relations between the US and China. Whoever wins this election will set the course of Taipei's relationship with Beijing at a critical moment.